Welcome back to the fourth art doll making video. In this one, we're going to be talking about a little bit of basic drawing for faces, hands, and feet. So I am going to split the series up at some point into ones that focus on what I'm going to say are the three main doll making materials: fabric, clay, and paper. There are other ways to do it. You can combine them, but that's how I'm going to sort it for this series. But you can draw on all of those. So I thought that it would make sense to just do a separate video about drawing faces, which I consider myself to be relatively good at. This is not going to be like super detailed, especially because we're not talking about painting or coloring, not sketching. So if you want to do like a super detailed one, you should find a video on it. There's some really good ones out there. But we're talking about really basic today. So we're gonna, there's shadows. Okay, we're gonna start with really basic, kind of realistic face. And for me at least, this is the way I would usually draw one. So the thing to remember is that your eyes should be one eye apart. So that's an eye, invisible eye, there's your other eye. Wow, that other eye is big. You can connect them at the corner. I purposely am not. Depending on the size, I will either fill the eye in all the way, like that, or not. We're going to do a bigger example over here in this corner. If the eyes are big enough, this is the way I draw them. And if I'm painting them, this is what I'll do as well. This area is your color. I actually have a color pen, so we'll demonstrate. This is the eye's color. You do the black in the center. And then you do one white dot for the light, the shine on the eye. And it's going to be whichever side, in theory, your light is coming in from. It doesn't really matter because you probably won't be doing heavy shading on a 3D object. I instinctually always do it on the right. That was the way I did it in some of my first, and that's just the way I always do it now. So back to this one. Eyebrows, you can just kind of... So noses, there's a bunch of different ways to draw noses. I will often just draw noses like that. You can, like, that's pretty much a basic nose shape. I know, it looks kind of weird. But if you think about it, you have two holes, it goes out a little bit, and curves around. You can draw, like, a fully connected nose like that. You can draw just like that. I will often add little lines up there. I do a lot of almost side profile noses like that because it's easier for me. So then lips, you want to drop down just a little bit. If you think about it, and sometimes I draw this, sometimes I don't, you have like a little indent right above your, I didn't really want to draw it, but I did, right above your lips. So you want to leave room for like where that would be in your head. And then you want to come down from the center of the eyes on both sides. That's where your smile line is. So that's about, this one feels like I've done something wrong. But that's going to be about where, okay, it's not terrible. That's about where it ends. And then chin, depends. Oftentimes it's better to draw your face before you do the face details. For that exact reason. You see how my cheeks have gone wonky? But I didn't this time. Here, we're going to do a speed run, a better one. Because I'm not fully happy with that one. And actually, this is a good example of, you can do it complex or not complex. Like, there's a really simple one. Your ears. The top of your ear is right by your eyebrow, and the bottom should be even with your nose. And then hair. Your hair is coming out. Your hair is technically on top of your forehead. I always do a part in the center, because it's coming out on both sides like that. Da-da-da-da-da. And then, yeah, so there's some basic faces. This is not something I've ever actually done on a face before. I should, though. It'd be cool. We're going to talk about line art really quick. Line art, pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. All one line, don't pick up your pen. And you can do it however you want. So here's kind of an idea. Doop, doop. You know, so this is just one way that you can do line art. You can trace back over it, kind of like what I'm doing. Or you can choose not to. It's extremely flexible. So here's an idea for line art. Just the idea of you can make it really abstract. Obviously, you can do almost kind of like what Picasso did, you know. You don't necessarily have to put everything in the right spots. You can make it as simplistically shaped as you want. You know, you can do more cartoon-like. You can do it however you want to do faces. These are some very exciting ones. You can do as simple, as complex, as whatever. I'm not a good realistic hand drawer. I'm not even a good semi-realistic hand drawer. These are the hands I draw. They have a various number of fingers. Please don't count them. I do know how to actually draw hands. Thumb, finger, 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 finger. Thing to remember is your thumb is the one off to the side. It's a little bit bigger. And then your fingers essentially make a mountain. Not perfectly, as you can see here. You know, these two right next to the middle finger are not exactly the same height, but pretty much. So, you know, so you want to do thumb, then finger, finger a little bit higher, finger drop back down, then finger a little bit to the side. If you want to add extra detail, we'll just show it on. Wow, that's a very weird thumb. It's like a sausage. You have nail. You can add a cuticle. You have kind of like a line right there, and then you've got knuckles. So that's kind of what it looks like. You could do lines on the hand. Feet. Again, my feet usually end up looking like baked potatoes, especially if I draw them with shoes on. But I also draw feet just kind of like that. That's my main feet drawing skills. Lo and behold. That's actually all we're going to do for feet today, because feet are difficult, and I've decided I don't want to try to draw toes. It's a lot of work. I'm sure you can find ones on how to draw good, realistic feet. I'd like to practice at some point, because I think that'd be cool, especially for, like, baby feet, baby imprints. But I'm not going to do that today. You're welcome. I'm sure you're so happy that this is what you decided to devote your time for, too. But I appreciate it, so thank you. Freckles, birthmarks. I love birthmarks so much. I will go crazy with birthmarks and freckles. You should look up actual videos about scars if you want to do scarring on a character, because it's really interesting. Just do like a whole scar study. I've done full scar studies on things. The thing to remember is a lot of people do scars like this, which is nothing wrong with that, especially because it doesn't have to be realistic. You can do it however you want. That would more be your scar if someone has stitches. So if someone's actually just has a scar, it's going to be lighter than the natural tone of their skin, not darker. And not necessarily hatch-lined either. It's just going to be a light line through their skin, if you want it to be kind of realistic. But I recommend looking it up, and I've looked up all kinds of different ones. You know, differences between burns, you know, if someone has one that's been stitched, if it hasn't been stitched. If you have a character who want to do one with scars, you should look it up. And again, you can always just go back to, like, not realistic, you know? This can be, you can just do black line scars if you want. You can do it however you want. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other big things that I've missed. I feel like these are the main ones. So, there's a little basic on faces, some little easy things about drawing, and I'll see you again.